Hi everyone, I'm back again after a very long time, and this video is about one of my favorite subject, which is geography, and it is specifically exploring the interconnectedness of Earth's physical and human environments. It could cover topics like landforms, climate, or human environment, and I am trying to focus only on specific regions like India and the subcontinents of India. So in today's video, we will discuss about the changes that we notice in the weather conditions. So you must have noticed that, India's weather patterns are fluctuating or they're changing due to a combination of factors. And this happens only during the monsoon season, which is our current period now, right? So during the monsoon season, there are a lot of changes that happens. And it's believed that these are due to rising global temperatures or, more frequent heat waves, heavy rainfall, and the shift in monsoon patterns. And additionally, regional variations in India's climate, such as altitude, the proximity, altitude in the sense the height of the land, the proximity, how close a particular area is towards the sea, especially the coastal areas. And, these features or these reasons actually play, a role in creating different weather conditions or diverse weather conditions. Okay, so in this video, we will discuss in detail as to why there are changes in the weather, especially during the monsoon season. And like you can see on the screen, one particular sea body here is highlighted. Okay, and that is the Bay of Bengal. So climate change is affecting the monsoon, that is for sure. It is causing heavy rainfall, and sometimes you have monsoons early, okay, which is supposed to happen between June to September, but it comes a little early, maybe in the mid of May or by end of May. And what are the reasons for these changes? And India is currently experiencing a shift in weather patterns with an increase in both heat waves and heavy rainfall. And what do you think is the reason? One major reason, according to me, is definitely the Bay of Bengal. Okay, this particular water body or this particular sea plays a crucial role in influencing monsoon patterns and subsequent weather changes over India and the surrounding regions as well. And not only that, the Bay of Bengal is also prone to cyclonic storms, which are essentially intense low pressure systems. Cyclone and low pressure. So you must have read in articles, or you must have read in newspapers, or you must have heard on TV. Okay, this particular term pressure. Okay, this concept pressure or air pressure is slightly complicated in geography, which is why I'm here to make it a little more simple and easy for you all. So I'm going to explain the concept of pressure in layman's terms. High and low pressure system cause day-to-day changes in our weather. So in this video, we will look at how they are defined and how they are formed. So you must have heard this concept of air pressure, or you must have learned it in your lower grades. Atmospheric pressure, or the Earth's atmosphere exerts pressure on the surface of the Earth. So what do you mean by this? Okay, the Earth's atmosphere exerts pressure on the surface. Okay, so the entire atmospheric air or the air in the atmosphere is compressed towards the surface. And a major reason for this is definitely due to the gravitational force or gravity. Okay. So according to gravity, anything that you throw up comes down. So similarly here, the most or the major portion of the atmospheric air is compressed. It is pulled or it is pushed downwards towards the surface of the earth. And that's why it is stated that the Earth's atmosphere exerts pressure on the surface. Okay, and so here you have two kinds, low pressure and high pressure. Now, since the entire atmospheric air is compressed towards the surface, So the surface of the earth has high pressure because the density of the air has increased due to heavy amount or a heavy portion of air that is being compressed towards the surface. Similarly, when you go up to a higher altitude, the density of the air reduces. So you have very less portion of air. And so there it is at a higher altitude, there is low pressure. This is only due to gravitation. But otherwise, there are various other factors which might alter the pressure, which might alter the high pressure and the low pressure according to the altitude. First one is intensity of heat. Now, the sun radiates heat, and most of the heat is being absorbed by the land. And so, here, what happens? The molecules in the air are expanding. Okay, they are far away from each other, and this reduces the density of the air. So, when the air gets heated up, it expands and the density reduces and slowly automatically rises above. Okay, so there is low pressure that time when the land is heated up. So the surface experiences low pressure. But when you go up to a higher altitude, what happens? The intensity of heat reduces. At a higher altitude, the the condition is usually cold. And so there, the molecules in the air are closely packed, which alters the density. The density of the air increases. And so you have a condition of high pressure at a higher altitude. This is only when there is high intensity of heat. Okay. When heat and cold alters the air's condition, the pressure also changes accordingly. So how do you measure pressure? Okay. So let's understand how this is measured. Pressure is measured, as you see in the screen that is given to you. It is measured in hectopascals, also called millibars. So standard pressure at sea level is defined as 1013 hectopascal, but we can see large areas of either high or low pressure. Now, these areas are all relative to each other. So what defines a high will change depending on the area around it, like I explained it earlier. Okay, so always remember that pressure is measured in hectopascals and it is also called as millibars. Now let's dive into the ascending and descending of air. Okay, a little more in depth. So why is that you have this concept of ascending and descending of air? Like I said, when the air is heated up, the molecules in it expand and it is forced to rise up because of the density. The density automatically reduces. But in a very cold temperature, the molecules are closely packed and so the density of the air automatically increases and so they are forced to settle down. So areas of high and low pressure are caused by ascending and descending of air. Okay, as air warms, it ascends, leading to low pressure at the surface. As the air cools, it descends because of density, leading to high pressure at the surface. Okay, so I'll repeat that. This is very important. Areas of high and low pressure are caused by ascending and descending of air. As air warms, when the air gets heated up, it rises, it ascends, leading to low pressure at the surface. As air cools, okay, during a cold temperature, when the air cools, it descends. Or when you go to a higher altitude, the temperature is usually cold at a higher altitude, right? We know that. So the air cools and now the air descends, leading to high pressure at the surface. In general, low pressure leads to unsettled weather conditions and high pressure leads to a settled weather condition. So now, why is that we say high pressure leads to a settled weather condition and low pressure leads to an unsettled weather condition? So what happens? So like you see in the picture that is given to you, moist warm air rises and cools down, isn't it? Similarly, and they blow in an anti-clockwise direction. What about the dry and the cold air? They decline and then they warm up. Okay, and then again here in this case, the winds will always blow in the clockwise direction. So only when the wind blows in the anti-clockwise direction is when we have a lot of trouble in the weather conditions. Okay, I want you to imagine the same condition near the coastal areas. Okay, so we've taken Bay of Bengal as the example. Bay of Bengal, in fact, is one of the reason why there are a lot of changes in the weather condition. And monsoon also is another factor which influences the weather condition, but it is only during the season that we see a lot of, you know, fluctuations in the climate of India. So the major reason is definitely the Bay of Bengal. So I want you to imagine this condition near the coastal areas. This condition persisting in the southeast of India. Okay, so I'll move on to the next screen, which will help you understand the concept better. Yes, this is the one. So depression is also called as cyclone. And the major reason of depression is because of low pressure system. So in a depression, as you know, the air is rising and it blows in an anti-clockwise direction. Okay, it blows in an anti-clockwise direction around the low pressure in the northern hemisphere. Now, as it rises and cools, water vapor condenses. So as the air rises and cools, what happens? Water vapor condenses to form clouds, and then that leads to precipitation. So this is why we say that the weather in depression or in a low pressure system is often unsettled, because this automatically leads to a continuous rainfall pattern. And there are usually weather fronts that are associated with depression. Weather fronts, I'll explain that in my next video. But you have to understand, one major reason that you have to understand is that why low pressure leads to an unsettled weather condition. It's because of continuous formation of clouds, that is water vapor condensing to form clouds, and then that leads to precipitation. And if the low pressure exists for a longer period, rainfall also exists. The pattern also exists for a longer period, and that is why we name it cyclone. Okay, and the major area that is, or one of the most affected area, is Orissa. This is a condition that is prevalent throughout the monsoon season in the southeast and the eastern part of India. And one major area that is affected because of cyclone is Orissa, which is in eastern India. Maybe I'll show that in the next slides. Next, we'll understand what is high pressure. So high pressure is also called as a condition of anticyclone, which is the opposite. So in an anticyclone or a high pressure system, the wind tends to be very light and it blows in a clockwise direction. Okay, that is also in the northern hemisphere. Also, the air is descending, okay, which reduces the formation of clouds and leads to very light winds and a very settled weather. So there is no formation of clouds, there is no condensation, there is no precipitation, and there is no continuous formation of a rainfall pattern. Why? Because it's a very settled weather condition, and in a high pressure system, winds tend to be very light. And another thing is the air is descending always. So this is the difference between cyclone and anticyclone. So next time when you hear about low pressure in Bay of Bengal, always associate that with cyclone. And what's the reason and how they are formed? You know how they are formed. Okay, so you have a knowledge about that. So now next we'll understand about isobars, or how to interpret the weather chart, which is something very interesting. So on a weather chart, so the one that is displayed to you is a weather chart. You have lines joining places with equal sea level. Okay, so any lines there, so all the blue lines here, they all join places with equal sea level, and these are called isobars. And why are these charts useful? They're useful because they help us identify cyclones, anticyclones, depressions, areas of high pressure, low pressure, etc. But how do we interpret it? Okay, interpreting or reading it is very complicated. So how do we actually read it? Okay, they that they join points of equal pressure, or they join points of places with equal sea pressure. So when the lines are close together, okay, always understand when the lines are very close together, the wind is strong. But when the lines, this is a technique. When the lines are close, when they are all very close together, The wind is strong when they're far apart, the wind is light. So the wind blows almost parallel to the isobars. Okay, and they are the benefits. It helps us identify cyclones or depression. So one thing, another thing here, what is that L that is marked there? L, low pressure, center of low pressure area or depression or cyclone. So this is usually associated with unsettled weather and it brings stronger winds. Why? Because you see the lines are very closely associated. So these lines here, they are very closely associated with each other. Okay, they're closely drawn. And, you know, the wind around a low pressure system always blows. You should remember that it blows in an anti-clockwise direction. And what about H there? H, you know that it is a center of a high pressure area and it is usually associated with a very settled weather condition and there are cloudless skies, no formation of clouds, condensation or precipitation. And usually it is a time of winter, very clear skies and light winds and sometimes it can fog or it can also mean frost. And they blow in a clockwise direction. So this is how you interpret. Moving on to the next slide to help you understand the areas that are affected by cyclones, low pressure. Okay, so India is one of those countries, especially the peninsular India. We live in the peninsular part of India, the southern part of India, right? So peninsular means when the area is covered by water on three sides. So you have the Arabian Sea, the Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean. You have three water bodies on all the three sides. So that gives you a peninsular situation. So India is one of those countries that are highly prone to natural calamities, including flood, drought, earthquake, and majorly it is cyclones and landslides too. Shouldn't forget that. So cyclones generally occur in May, June, and October or November. So May, June, why May, June? Because of monsoon. October, November, because of retreating when the monsoon subsides. That's called retreating monsoon. That's why you have cyclones even in the month of October and November. And it affects the entire coast of India. The east coast is more prone. Like I said, Orissa, which is in the eastern part of India, is more prone than the west coast. Okay, so more cyclones, major part, okay, majority of cyclones occur in the Bay of Bengal and very few in the Arabian Sea. So you know the cyclone prone regions of India, right? So it's highlighted for you there. Four major states here are Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal at one union territory. Maybe I'll just make you understand that. So these part, that's yeah, you have Andhra Pradesh, Orissa here, like I said, Orissa, then parts of West Bengal. Then you have Pondicherry there, which is again a union territory on the east coast. They are all most vulnerable to cyclonic disasters. Okay, then apart from that, although cyclones affect the entire coast of India, the east coast, that is this part, is more prone. Why? Because of Bay of Bengal. The low pressure system, the condition of low pressure system exists here. Okay, and that is why these areas are more prone as compared to the west coast. So the most affected state, like I told you, is Orissa of all time. Okay, so with this, we've come to the end of the video. If you have any doubts, please do write it in the comment section below. And I will meet you again with another interesting geographical concept. Thank you.